All right, are we live? I think we're live. Broadcast is now live. It's the World, episode 15. What's going on, everybody?
What is going on?
Hello there.
How are you doing?
We got Jonathan Foltz and Matthew Lally, two co-founders of Pitch Investors Live, joining us today. Thank you guys for coming on. John, you're now regular, so welcome back.
Yeah.
And Matthew, he's in purple today. He's showing his purple background, and why not? It's 2020. Let's get weird.
This reminds me when I saw him at first, I thought it was a reverse thing, and we're like, okay, let's go with it. And it looks, me and Matt have liked this new guy called the Akira the Dawn. Actually, it was actually Matt that it's not Chris. Chris is on here. But what's it called? We were watching something called Akira the Dawn. It's a super dope music, philosophical type of YouTube channel that Matt's obsessed with. So I was like, when I saw him, the first thing I was like, okay, he's been watching Akira the Dawn way too much.
Yeah, I'm calling from the future. Actually, no, I'm. This is like UV light screening to get rid of the coronavirus.
Perfect. That's awesome. You have a patent on that, or what?
Not yet, but we'll see what we can do.
Awesome.
Help with that.
So yeah, I mean, just sort of on a somewhat serious note, today is October 15th, and we're in the second week of the fourth quarter of 2020. And I thought it would be a good idea to bring on two co-founders of Pitch Investors Live and also Two Up Technology to discuss sort of the latest in what's going on with Pitch Investors Live, what's this other project that's being revived, Two Up, and what does the fourth quarter and the beginning of 2021 look like? So, we'll start with you, Jonathan. What's been going on with Pitch Investors Live? What can you share with us? I know there's been a lot of work behind the scenes, so shed some light on what's going on.
Yeah, so I would definitely say me and Matt are not good at communicating some of the stuff that we work on. Sometimes, actually, I tell Matt a lot of times he does develop cool stuff, and he doesn't really put it out there for the world. I'm definitely more front-end marketing guy, and I can miss mark sometimes. And then Matt is very much like a vision. Obviously, we have other co-founders also, like Damien, Adam, you yourself, some other people on the team that have been here for a while. But we sometimes just miss that part of the PR point. We are having the beginning stages, but we do a little bit of it. That's why we thought this would be even good to get people to catch up on what's going on. So I know one of the things that I've been hella excited about for a while. It took us much longer to go about. I'm sure Matt could shed some light on this. But since we were going to do our atomic swap, because it was so much legal, there was so much legal back end and red tape to go through. We launched the technology, we just couldn't launch it live. So just so that we keep ourselves in good standing. So one of the things that we thought of, and it was we're very excited to do it. It took us a little bit longer. There's no one doing it in the fashion that we're doing, and it's basically to allow, let's say, a regular Joe, entrepreneur, startup, business. Theoretically, anyone could do it. They're literally pitching an investor on the platform. We're going to allow them to use Pitch to be able to tip themselves. In the future, we'll allow ETH and DAI and everything like that. Matt, you could probably shed some light on that. But what I'm excited about that is that you could literally do that. There was a huge project down in South America. It was called Ideas.me, and they had a substantial amount of projects that got funded in all of the South America area. And when I found out, first, I didn't know that they were being funded and the people were giving them the money. So to me, I was mind blown when I found out how many projects actually got funded literally by people giving them, basically hey, this is an amazing project. I believe in the founders. I believe what they're doing. Here's $20. Here's $50. Some people maybe $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, very philanthropic type of ways. And what we're seeing right now, including in Matt's favorite show, Akira the Dawn, which he's fell victim many times to, and not victim, he felt the value to tip people. So, you know, sometimes when you have conversations, like me personally, if I see two people having a great conversation, and let's say it's a startup and an investor, and then they're talking, I feel there's massive value, I personally would give a tip. You know, sometimes some people may think an entrepreneur or project has a great business, but they're not trying to invest into the company, but like, hey, that's a great idea, here's $5. What happens when 1,000 people say that's a great project? What happens when a little kid from South Africa thinks is a great he has a great project? Then people are like, okay, I'm not going to invest in a kid in South Africa or Nigeria, you know, but what I can do is I'll throw him some money, you know, so like I'll throw him some tokens and stuff like that. You know, that could be a game changer for us. It's very minuscule, has an amazing idea. We can actually help their projects flourish, you know, so like that was like one of the things that I was very excited about. And there's another update. And I'll let maybe Matt kind of ride off of this one right now, because I know Matt, like, you know, has been working with this, and we've been working with a real cool project that Matt was able to get us in line with and a partnership with and everything like that. So, you know, I've been super excited about it. And, you know, I'm just trying to make sure that we'll have like the UI good enough and as easy as possible. But I'll let Matt take it away, because he's the one that, you know, has been working pretty hard on this one. And it hasn't been an easy ride, you know. So, Matt. You're on mute.
Let's see. Am I still?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So so our original idea. So the token, like the purpose of the token has always been to use the platform, right? To pay for services on the platform. But we wanted to incorporate it in some other things as well. And you know, originally we had planned on one of those additional things being making these swaps and stuff. But as we got into it more and more, it didn't really make sense from a number of perspectives, mainly legal, but other reasons too. So what we decided to do was this tipping thing. And then, so the idea with that is, okay, so people are going to be able to send tokens to other people, and they're going to be able to like click, okay, send like 1 cent, okay, click, send another cent, like that, right? But the problem with doing that with Ethereum tokens is that every time you do that, every time you do a transaction, if you do it on chain, it's going to cost you like $1 to, I mean, recently as much as like $7 or something like that. It's just not
crazy fees,
not possible to do it. So what you have to do is you have to kind of batch those transactions, or like try and settle those token movements in like a batch, basically. And so people have come up with all these different solutions to moving tokens cheaply for the individual user, and then settling those tokens that are moved on Ethereum later. And we did a lot of research to find out what was the best way of doing that. Are you hearing a lot of echo on my voice, by the way?
I hear slight echo. Does anyone else hear slight echo? Adam, are you hearing an echo? Maybe we try to, or Adam, maybe you mute yourself. I'm not sure. I do hear it slightly.
All right, if it's not so bad, I'll just carry on. So
yeah.
So we were looking at all these different ways of moving tokens from user to user with minimal fees. And there are a bunch of solutions. A bunch of people are trying different stuff, and a lot of them have cropped up like since we already decided what we were going to implement. But we've been investigating them, and we still do. So there's examples are like OMG, Omise Go. That's one system. It's called a layer 2 solution, like all of these things. And basically it lets you take tokens off Ethereum, move them around cheaply, and then put them back on Ethereum when you want. Well, OMG isn't the one we went with. We tried a bunch of others. There's now a lot of ZK roll-ups and things like that didn't exist when we started implementing this. They look like they actually might be good solutions, but they're not what we decided to go with. We ended up exploring this solution called state channels, and specifically this team called Connext, CONNEXT, and we decided to use their solution. And so we've been implementing their solution on our platform for a long time. And to be honest, we're one of the first users, as far as I can tell, of this new system they developed. And so we're the ones that encounter all the bugs, right? Every time we try and run it, it turns out there's something else broken. And you can't launch a system that moves anything remotely resembling value if it's broken and if there's a possibility of it not working. So be extremely careful with this. So we're now at a point where it seems like we have something pretty stable that we can use. And so we're going to roll things out slowly, but we last estimate that we put together, I think we're going to be able to roll out tipping in a couple of weeks within a few weeks from now.
Couple weeks?
Like 2 weeks. 2 weeks is what we're hoping. That never hold me to it, because believe me, the number of times I've said that.
Possible. We're shooting, but doesn't mean that's when it will.
It doesn't mean that we don't roll it out and then say, we've got to roll it off. We've got to take it off. That could happen too. So we're just going to do our best on this and approach it analytically and kind of be reasonable with our decisions. So
let me just jump in real quick. We're talking about the pitch token and the use of tipping of the pitch token through Pitch Investors Live, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the core use of the token is and always has been spending on the platform, right? Buying services from the pitch platform. But this is going to kind of allow people to gift these tokens to other people on the platform. And that includes us gifting them as well. I mean, we've talked for a long, long time about building up the community by giving people tokens to use. And delivering those tokens also depends on lots of small transactions. It's the same problem as tipping, so we're going to use the same system to issue reward as we do for the tipping system. So they both should roll out within a short time of each other, I would think. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. And actually, it's looking pretty good. It's looking quite usable. Another problem with Ethereum is that it's really hard for people to use the first time if they've never used it. Like, who knows what MetaMask is? Does anyone have MetaMask installed when they come to a website? They don't. It's like, okay, I've got to use MetaMask. Okay, now I've got to write down seed words. What the hell is
friction?
Yeah, it's friction. So another part of what we've done is we've tried to minimize that. Basically, we don't want people to have to write down seed words and stuff like that. That's going to ruin the experience for people. So yeah. So I see one of the comments was probably related to the voice coming through. It was about technical issues, but technical issues is exactly what we're talking about as well. We've just had so many technical issues implementing this, but you can't roll out. You just can't do it.
So right.
As a 3, 2, 1, but whatever. If everyone's about building on Ethereum, we all thought things would go much quicker than they actually have, but they are coming together.
Good. So we're also approaching election season, or it already is election season, and you can't turn on the TV or go on the internet without hearing something political, right? And sort of what prompted the whole idea of Pitch Investors Live was this prior application called 2Up.
Yeah.
And I know there's been a community revival of this app, and also some inner workings behind the scenes to revive this app. Can you briefly touch on that, Matthew?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the 2Up app originally launched in 2016, like early 2016. So it was actually before the last election, and many of the users who are still on the platform are still there from when they joined back then. To be honest, a lot of our attention shifted to Pitch Investors Live, and so we didn't really maintain it so well. But there were still like groups of people getting together and saying, "Hey, do you want to go on?" Like scheduling sessions on 2Up and stuff. And then we had kind of a weird thing where, in the space of like a week, we got reached out to by a guy who wanted to actually acquire the app, and one of the biggest users of the platform, who was also interested in taking it over, who was like, "Okay, look, if you guys are not going to do anything with this, I'll take it over and I'll run it. Can I do that?"
It was interesting too because it happened on the same exact day. because we had already been talking about maybe potentially relaunching because of the political whole mayhem going on, and right, it happened exactly the same day. And I was like, wow, that's strange.
So weird, but so we actually brought that person who was a big user of the platform, who wanted to take it over onto our team, and we decided, look, this is just, I don't know why we've been neglecting this, but we should be building this as well. And a lot of the technical challenges that are on one are actually on both. So it's like you can build one thing and use it on both platforms. So it's kind of cool.
So Jonathan, let's hear from you. What makes you so excited about and sort of the relaunching and rebranding of this at a time where the country has been divisive?
I mean, we had literally been talking about this before the individual came in to talk about acquiring 2Up, and before, her name is Lana. She's actually now part of like this revival and this relaunch of the original app 2Up, which is the reason that Pitch Investors Live existed. And this is actually when I met Matt. Matt was like about to launch startup conference, I don't know, 2015 or something like that. I forgot when it was, right? SubX, I think. Yeah, something like that. So somewhere around that time. And like when I first heard the idea, I thought it was free. I thought it was fun. Like I wasn't worried about like how you can make money. I just thought it was super fun. And I was like, man, this is a very gamified idea. And this was when like, I don't think Facebook Live existed then anyways, right? So I don't think it was available, right? It wasn't available. So like I thought Periscope was a way of the future. I've always believed that live
didn't exist when 2Up launched either. It was the only one that was out was Meerkat.
Meerkat was the other one. Yes. Okay, so you're right. It was Meerkat. Okay, so I've always been a big believer in live is the future. Like people don't want to read just text. People want to do videos. Hence why both of our apps, 2Up and Pitch Investors Live, feature live video, right? And everything like that. So, when we started Pitch Investors Live, we got everything going with that, got it rolling. As election period came in 2020 came into play, and we're, building all the other stuff out for tipping on Pitch Investors Live, I just kept thinking to myself, I was just like, man, I'm like, right now, I have never seen, and I love human behavior. I love psychology, and I just love watching people. That's one of the things I love doing. And I have never in my life and in history, have we rarely seen situations where people are so freaking polarized as they are right now. And as you're seeing right now, as we speak, there's like crazy discussions going on and everything like that. So, after this guy came in to want to acquire, Lana, an amazing woman that has come in now to help us with the project and everything, because she literally says, she's like, guys, if you're not going to do anything with this, because we kind of left it. It was like the ugly stepchild that just got left to the side. And it like, it was like a nice house and it's an amazing concept. The design architecture is so cool, but it's all beat up and raggedy and stuff like that. That's kind of how it was. So we're like, what? We decided that we're like, what? Let's bring this thing back to life, because, there was a time when there was a lot of people into it. Like if you go to 2up.tech right now, you can see some of these people have debated 600 to 700 times. And Matt, if I'm not mistaken, I think that some of those that's not even the true number. So that some people, there was another leaderboard before that, right?
Yeah, there's more than that. But it's had a lot of people were super active. I'd say like a small number of people were extremely active, right? Like super fans. Yeah. And then, it was growing, but it was, I put it this way, a lot of the activity on 2Up happened before John brought in his particular talent set, which is like totally different than mine. There's some crossover, but like, it was like me and one other guy pretty much building 2Up. And so the building was okay. The building of it was like was okay because I'm pretty good at that stuff. But the building of the community was not as good as it could have been. And and also anyone will tell you it doesn't look like a very good app. It doesn't look it doesn't look how it should. So yeah, which was true of Pitch Investors Live before we fixed those issues, So.
Yeah. So I mean, like going back to the original question. So like, because of the polarization, like all that was needed is a little spark, and then having this guy that wanted to acquire the company, and then Lana just big time believing in it so much that she didn't know how to build apps. She didn't know anything about apps. And she's like, hey, like, I would like to take this over if you guys aren't going to do anything with this. So, we had a hard talk, and we were like, you know what, guys? Okay, so here goes another announcement of what's happening with Pitch Investors Live. So this is a pretty big, substantial, I guess, feature addition, if you want to call it. So we're going to allow anyone, okay, all you entrepreneurs, people that have services, coaches, people thinking of an idea, we're going to allow anyone and everyone to talk, to have conversations. Because I think that's what happened. Like, Matt put it in a very beautiful way. It's like, in Two Up, the reason that there was a substantial amount of people is like you have the same two type of people wanting to talk. For Pitch Investors Live, we allowed it so that only investors can ask. Okay, investor can only ask the entrepreneur to talk. The entrepreneur needs to be like, hey, investor, what's up? Entrepreneur is like, I don't got time for you. And they don't have time. Investors don't have time. So we're like, you know what? Forget it. Let's go. And we're going to open up this whole damn thing now and allow anyone to talk, which we believe that it's going to allow more investors to be like wanting to hear these conversations between entrepreneurs, coaches and advisors, service members. Because, sometimes people don't need an investor. They need a programmer. They need a marketer. They need an advisor. They need a partner. They need someone to team up with, and then that'll help it out there. So, when you made that interpretation, it also reminded me, I'm like, man, if we could get Two Up to go out in this environment, we're building that technology where it's like one-on-one, the same type of people that want to have conversations. After we're done building this out, we're going to take that same exact technology, the features and everything, and we're going to implement it into Pitch. Okay, so you mix it together with the tipping that we're doing, opening up the platform. This is going to be a monumental. This is why this is a major update, because it's something substantial that can happen here. So I'm very excited about that. And the whole thing with Two Up, one last thing, is we're during the most crazy year of our entire lives. This happens once in 100 years, okay? This type of pandemic in the world. And it's also so polarized, and we want to allow people to have a conversation, because right now, if anyone's seen the movie, the documentary, The Social Dilemma, like you guys can see very clearly, and I've seen it for years, and I've never seen it tolerate so much that there's echo chambers where you're just talking to the same people that are reinforcing your idea as much as you can. No one's listening to the other side. Trump supporters don't want to hear about Biden supporters, and Biden supporters don't want to hear about Trump. They literally are so indoctrinated into their own ideologies because of social and what it's done and created these echo chambers. It's hard to break out of them. We're hoping, Matt has a few words on this one. I'd love to hear Matt, because he used the word before called healing. I think it's very similar. Sometimes you have a conversation with someone and you can hear something completely different, not being a keyboard warrior, just texting back and forth and then disappearing and stuff. Have a real conversation, face to face, mano a mano. It's so powerful.
Yeah, one thing I just want to touch on real quick, and I think Matt, you may have said, or actually Jonathan, you brought this up earlier, the fact that you were approached about Two Up, or maybe Matt was approached about Two Up, and that sort of woke you guys up to remembering how great of a project this is and how wonderful of a time it is to sort of relaunch it. And I want to bring that up because many people may be sitting on their projects right now thinking it's done, it's dead, let me move on to something else. And something like a Pitch Investors Live, which is going to open things up, could be a great opportunity to revive or restart or see if it has any legs to it. Can you Matt, let me hear from you. Can you just kind of explain how people can use Pitch for that very purpose?
Yeah, I think it's an easy way for you to expose your idea to other people who might be able to help. And sometimes a new perspective can help revive something that you've been working on that maybe you've been banging your head against the wall for ages on. So an example of how that could happen on Pitch Investors Live is obviously you could meet an investor who's looking to, connect you to people, invest in your business, whatever. But also, with the changes we'll be making, where we open it up so that people can just communicate just because they want to help and just because they're interested in talking about the project, that can also, bringing Jonathan in and bringing in Jonathan brought a lot of people, and like Adam, I know you because of Jonathan, for example. Like that was a big boost of energy for this project. So it was like, that was made a huge change. And who knows if that hadn't happened, what would have happened? You know what I mean? And that could happen for anyone who's making more connections. The thing is, you got to make more connections, and then some of them will work out and add value to your business. And one thing that 2020 has shown us is that you can't always do that in person. Really.
So Jonathan, talking about the connections that Matt developed for helping build out Pitch Investors Live and relaunch 2UP, can you just talk about the importance of networking and using Pitch Investors Live to help build and grow your network?
Oh my God. I mean, we have spent a lot of time and effort, money into Pitch Investors Live. And you know what? It's just been such an amazing learning lesson. And, there's been a lot of amazing people involved. Like a lot of the people that got involved have utilized our services and everything like that. That's a lot of what happens these days is that, we take on these projects. And this is one of the things I love to talk about big time. It's like I'm a big believer that you don't work with people to work with them. You work with people and you come into people's lives in order to grow with them. The more I get into business and the more I have business partners, like me and Matt, like, for example, like, we do a lot of personal studies together and everything like that when it comes to, let's say it's personal growth, but also like an evolution of it in a different methodology. We do some of the similar training and everything like that. And then Adam, very well, like we'll get into like consciousness and everything, so for me, it's like, like being able to have these type of networks. For me, it's not about the business, not about the money. It's like learning and evolving as a human being. And, what happens in these type of environments and what Pitch was able to bring in is like our network has grown exponentially. So we have some amazing resources. Now we are connected to some huge VCs, all kinds of angel investors, all kinds of celebrities and everything. And I believe that, having a good network, of course it takes work. Sometimes it doesn't take as much work, but having a great network around you expedites your process and your success exponentially. That's why people go and why do people go to San Francisco and spend a ridiculous amount of money being as close to Silicon Valley as possible? Why? Because they're around people. They're around a network. Okay, so they're paying exponential pricing to be right there in the thing. Because next thing you do, you're eating at a cafe and you're freaking talking to an executive of Apple, or you're meeting a new capital investor. So these type of projects, people don't realize, like sometimes we want to calculate things in a monetary aspect, and instead of first of all the lessons being learned or the people that you meet within it that later in life. For example, when me and Matt met, we met as friends. We didn't start Investors Live and got everything going for what? It took us 3-4 years, Matt, or something like that from when we met. How long did it take?
I think we met in 2016, and then what did we probably didn't start working together until the end of 2017.
Yeah, I feel like I met
early 2016.
I feel like we met in 2015. I don't know, something like that. But okay, it was a couple of years, but we were just friends. I would have not guessed that we would have been like business partners to this extent and have built like what we built. Like I would have not thought that in the beginning stages. And look at us now, so that was like one of those networking things because we networked, that was networking. We're at a startup conference, just became just regular friends, and boom, you know what it is. But definitely networking is a very important part that I think has been very supplemental, and I know it's going to be extremely crucial for the success of everything that we do in the future, and to grow as human beings. You know what I mean? That's what inner growth is like, where it's really at. Like we're not trying to get all that shit off there. We're trying to feel a certain way. And until someone could really realize that you're trying to feel in a certain way, then that's why you're doing all that other bullshit on the outside. And you start to realize, the grand power that we have and what we're here to do. So it's like there's more to it at the end of the day.
For sure. And I think, I mean, we've had some people on Pitch the World, talk about the significance of networking, and, you hear things like network equals net worth. And there's so much truth to that. And when we're in the midst of this pandemic where we have things like social distancing and people just not being comfortable getting together in person, an avenue like Pitch Investors Live is a great opportunity for people to continue to network and grow their own communities and become influencers. And that's sort of the next thing I want to talk about is we hear the term influencer all the time, and most people think of Instagram or social media. But in this day and age, that there's a lot of value for people to become an influencer. And taking charge with an app such as Pitch Investors Live or even 2Up, where you're debating people, you can get a lot of recognition and also become an influencer in that manner. Let's say on 2Up by winning a number of debates. So Matt, can you talk about how someone could become an influencer through using 2Up, and if you've seen cases of that have already occurred?
In the specific example of 2Up, you get put on a leaderboard based on how many, basically based on how much people like what you're saying or agree with you or whatever, and so that is essentially a way for you to get featured, and so that's a way that we get people to follow you, and so you'll get more followers. That's the mechanics of it. And I think that really the way to get to become an influencer is just to be try and be useful and honest, and help people, and then more people will want to connect with you, and that probably goes for a lot of different networks. But yeah, in the specific example of Pitch and 2Up, is definitely true. It's just be useful, connect with a lot of people, more people will see you, and that's it. What do you think, John?
Yeah, no, I mean 100%. I mean, when I look at your screen and I'm thinking of Akira the Don, I can't seem to help but think about metaphors. You guys got to go watch Akira the Don, right? So the reason I can't, there's a rhythm going here, an entanglement, is because Akira the Don, and this is tipping. This is the reason that we're doing tipping, and why you guys will see 100%, guys. You are going to see tipping take over everything in the next 2 to 4 years. Okay, watch, mark my words. We're gonna look back at this video. You're gonna see tipping everywhere. Okay, because here's what's happening. Also, just like in the e-commerce, internet marketing, which is taking over retail. Okay, physical landscape is destroyed. Online is where it's at. Okay, and people, they want people they could trust. Okay, and Matt said something very important. It's like people want value, right? They want something useful. Okay, right? Matt, you were saying something useful. People want value. So I know Matt has given many tips to Akira the Don. Okay, and it's in a gamified fashion on YouTube. Okay, so do you think that Matt did it just because he thought it was cool to play a game on someone's channel? No. The reason Matt was willing to play a game and kind of go up against other people tipping, because it's kind of like they gamify it, and it's like whoever tips the most like wins at the end of the night. And it's super amazing because we used to do this in auctions on Facebook. One of the last companies that we sold, we did it. We had a system very much like that. And one of the biggest things about that is the only reason they're doing it is because they value Akira the Don, and then he's giving a free service. So they're giving a tip. Okay, and for everyone to kind of understand, this actually started big time in the porn industry, and then went into gaming. Okay, and now it's making its way into cryptocurrencies, music. It's going to be everywhere. Okay, give it a little bit of time, and you're going to see this everywhere. So for me, it's the value that people give on a free basis, and if they believe they could give value, they're going to give a tip because they feel almost compelled that, like, oh my God, I'm getting so much value, and you're giving this to me for free. I gotta give you something back. You know, like, what can I do, right? So, yeah, basically.
You feel genuine gratitude for the value someone gave, and it's not like no one's forcing you to do it. It's like you just wanted to do it. thanks a lot for helping me out. I want to help you out. That's pretty much.
Exactly.
I think if 2020 has taught us anything, it's we can figure out new ways to be kind to each other and to work with each other as a community and to just figure out ways to help each other, really. And this feature, all it is philanthropic. It's helping other people succeed, and there's really no downside to doing that. And the fact that we'll be incorporating that into Pitch Investors Live, possibly up, there's great opportunities for people to for people to give back, and this is a way to do that. So let's just talk about that itself, tipping. So a lot of people still have problems with cryptocurrency. It needs to get to the level where we can teach our grandmothers or our parents, or even our generation, to be able to interact with cryptocurrency. I know I personally struggle with it. So Matt, I know you sort of have your nose to the grind with cryptocurrency and blockchain. Do you see things getting easier in terms of transactions? And then secondly, how can Pitch help people with these cryptocurrency transactions and tipping in particular?
Okay, so yes, it's getting better. The thing that would fix everything is if all the browsers built something like MetaMask into the browser. Like Opera does that. Opera is a great browser that allows you to put crypto directly into your browser. So your browser's a wallet, and it's fantastic. And MetaMask has released a mobile version of MetaMask that has a browser built in, so it's a similar effect. So those are both good. And Argent is ARGENT is a wallet that lets you use Ethereum DeFi stuff and wallet features and stuff very easily without even using Ethereum, because they take care of all that stuff. So that's really cool. So there are a bunch of initiatives like that. And then the approach that we're taking is to move the tokens to a place where we can move them around with less interaction involving Ethereum tooling. So and we're using like single sign-in solutions and stuff like that to make things easier. So we're using a bunch of stuff that makes the UI simpler. But I think generally Ethereum is going to become easier to use as people just get used to using it and as they demand to use it. Anyone who's watching this, I really recommend you try Opera browser, MetaMask mobile, and Argent wallet for your phone. They're all fantastic, and they'll change your experience with Ethereum a lot.
Yeah, interesting. And what's the name? And I think it was Mark Andreessen that launched his own browser, Brave. Is it not called Brave? Have you tried that out, Matt? The Brave browser?
Brave is what's his name that created JavaScript?
Was it Andreessen? Wasn't it Andreessen?
No, it wasn't Andreessen.
Who was it? I'm trying to think who was that created. Like, I wonder.
It'll pop into my head, but I don't remember.
He's a certified badass, basically.
Yeah. I don't like Brave that much, to be honest.
Really?
Okay. It's a nice browser, but it's the crypto stuff to me doesn't work as well as it could. It uses like custodial solutions and stuff, and I'm not a fan. But it's probably not finished. So when it's finished, it'll be excellent.
Anything in crypto is finished right now. We're just getting started, it seems like.
Speaking of unfinished product, there's a lot of perception out there that if fans or supporters of a particular project, if they don't hear from co-founders or people within the organization, that no news is bad news. And in fact, there are a lot of people that have taken 2020 to go in and develop and spend some time, nose to the grind, working.
Yeah.
I know this is a perfect example of sort of why we wanted to get together today, is to just remind people that, hey, you haven't heard from us in a while. but we're working. We have some wonderful updates. So, Jonathan, can you just touch on that a little?
I just want to say one thing before John does. Like, this is my normal state of affairs, to be honest. If you don't ask me to comment on stuff, you'll never hear from me. That's just the way I like it. John is much more communicative. So anyway, yeah. John, go ahead.
No, I mean, I think that is. I mean, to be honest, I mean, like the beginning of this year was a roller coaster ride. You know what I mean? Like for us and many people. I mean, believe it or not, a lot of the crypto oriented projects and fintech in the startup world, like since we started, have basically just disappeared into the abyss. You know, a lot of them, it was just hard to sustain for so long and everything like that. And, you know, it was actually really hard for us in the beginning of the year, to be quite honest, because of the pandemic and, you know, like our sales avenues basically locked up. Entrepreneurs weren't wanting to spend money and everything, you know, so it was like definitely a very roller coaster, wild 2020, not just in the sense of like everything that was happening, but even in the business perspective and everything. So for us, what I have seen, and I've seen this also from other projects, is that they do kind of like just go hermit down and just creating stuff, you know, like I think it's very similar with, and I don't want to speak for them. This is just what I've seen is like even Connects. So Connects, they're like hunkering down, building all kinds of stuff. They've helped us with a bunch of things, which we're super grateful. Connects is one of the projects that we've been working on. Awesome Ethereum-based project that Matt was able to get us basically into a partnership with and everything. And it was really cool to just be able to have them help us build out this technology in order to get the tipping going and everything. So we've internally done testing. And again, we don't like to give dates. You know, Matt tends to give dates and I give dates, but it's like, that's why we leave them a little bit open-ended, because actually tipping was supposed to launch a few months ago. And we came across like a whole bunch of issues and everything like that. So, you know, we haven't been the best at communicating it, but we do hunker down and we are working on the stuff. And it's one of the things that's exciting too, is to see that, you know, there's a little bit more locomotion going too with DeFi, right? So DeFi is just freaking exploded, you know what I mean? Like, and it's still pretty brand new. I mean, I don't think we knew about DeFi, 3 months ago? Right? I think it is. We're like that new into the game, into DeFi, Matt, right? Like how long has DeFi been here? For a little bit?
For me, I don't know how long the term's been around, but for me, I've been following it a long time. From the first thing I'd put in that category is MakerDAO. It's amazing.
And Matt's been obsessed with Maker. Like I only started paying attention to DAI like when Matt was talking about it, but that's like been one of Matt's favorite projects for sure. I've been hearing that from you for a while.
I love it, because it solves the whole volatility problem with tokens, right? Like token prices go up and down. So how can you trust them to send payments? But they solved it in a way that doesn't involve backing with dollars. It's amazing. So that's been around a long time, and I'd put that in the category of DeFi. But then, you know, the launch of the Compound token was just unbelievable, and they were giving that away to people who were using the Compound protocol, which is amazing way to jumpstart things, but not dissimilar to what we've been planning with our Pitch Investors Live reward system. So that's that. And then you know, then everyone started adopting that same system and started giving away tokens for use, and then people started building systems to maximize that with yield farming and stuff, and it went ballistic. And then, you know, last month things were nuts, and then they collapsed again. You know, it's crypto. What can I say?
So let's sort of look into the future a little bit, and let's take our mindsets toward 2021. Hopefully, a different year. I'm not going to say better or worse, but different than 2020. Jonathan, I want to turn to you and ask you, what's your ideal vision for Pitch Investors Live in 2021? What do you see, and do you have any goals, I guess, for 2021 for Pitch Investors Live?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say that, like, you know, I wish we had started really hunkering down like earlier. You know, like what we did is like, and one of the things that we kind of learned and we kind of switched in that direction is that we were trying to find a lot of different sales avenues to keep the business going. You know what I mean? Like we were like, okay, how do we make money to sustain, to build everything that we were doing? And I wish that we had spent more time with just kind of like more product development and like really honing in to like the product that we have, you know? So like when we actually started doing that, when we're like, okay, let's hunker down, like forget trying to find out all these different ways, the product market fit, let's do something viral. So the approach that we're actually taking with 2Up right now, we literally have, I mean, there's ideas because, you know, we are businessmen at the end of the day, you know, and like I've definitely had so many solutions to make money in different companies and stuff like that. But like Matt, our plan is like not surrounded anywhere on making money. It's like how to get people to debate as much as possible, right? Would you say, Matt?
Yeah, and it's the same for pitch. It's the same thing. It's just drive activity, and and like the tipping stuff fits right in with that as well, with drive activity. We just need loads of activity and provide like a really interesting place for people to be. That's basically the plan.
Yeah, literally, and it just like putting it perfectly, it's more about let's provide a good user experience. Let's allow people to connect as easy as possible. Let's incentivize them to come back onto the platform. You know, tipping is going to do that, letting them talk with anyone, talking about Pitch Investors Live now, like letting them speak with anyone, because we have so many people that when we did, I remember when we did our pitchathon where we had 70 pitches in a day, you know, we did an after, me and Diani went on a call with a bunch of people that did it and they were in love with it. And we came to find that they started a whole bunch of their own little Facebook groups and their Facebook chats to have conversations about how they're going to pitch. And we have a platform where they could have done it live. You know what I mean? To me, that's like mind blowing that we didn't have that then, you know, that we allowed that, you know, so like now, you know, like we're building a lot of that stuff up in 2Up, and then we're going to take that technology, those features, and then throw them and optimize it now as the elections come to fruition and everything like that. We'll optimize, throw it into pitch, and allow anyone to now have these conversations. Holy smokes, that's a huge difference. You know, so like for me, that's like we're optimizing the user experience to get as many people to actually come on our platform and have a use. So the way that I see like in 2021 is that we're having massive amounts of conversations and we're having massive amounts of debates on the other end, you know, and like in lateral, these two apps, companies, if you want to call them, basically are going to have a lot of people doing that. And we want to see people actually using the tipping. You know, so allow people to have the opportunity to, let's say, pitch an investor, pitch a friend, you know, like they can pitch anyone on their ideas, you know, like if I need a programmer, which we actually needed, you know, we're a little bit late on the launch of 2Up because we're implementing a super badass UI. You know, one of the things that Matt talked about is like, you know, the beginning stages, the design was just, you know, it's like, So, you know, we're upgrading it, and it took us a little bit of way to get there, but we needed a front-end iOS dev because we lost one of our devs. So basically, like, and we had a very tight crunch line. So I was literally asking people on Facebook, why couldn't I have gone on Pitch Investors Live, looked up all the things that people do in the different companies, and I could have just gone on a Facebook on a live with them. And then I could have done an interview right then. Instead, now I got to wait for people, wait for them to come on, talk to them on text, then see what their Skype is or what their Zoom is or whatever it is. Like, man, forget that. I could just literally swipe, okay? And then that shows them I want to talk. If they say yes, I'll go live with them. So I could literally go and start talking to other project people that I want to speak to, and literally within 5 to 10 minutes, I'll probably be talking to someone on a live chat. That's pretty badass. So, you know, then something I see, then imagine if we're thinking about something that's valuable, going back to what Matt was saying, useful, right? They could tip us. I mean, that's what I would love to see there. And then obviously go from there and then expand operations, but right now, you know, allowing people to just have conversations and seeing people go live continuously. You know, it's like, that's our first real big milestone that we want to do. And we believe this is a substantial feature add, and then tipping, obviously two major, you know, milestones for us to hit could cause some major momentum. And, you know, like we obviously take any support from anyone else that, you know, have ideas, you know.
So we talked about both apps, Pitch Investors Live and 2Up. Matt, can you tell the audience tuning in today live and also watching the recording, what's the best way to sign up for both of these apps? What's the best way to participate? And who should be signing up for these apps?
Okay, so Pitch Investors Live, you can go to pitchinvestorslive.com and we also have apps by the same name in Android and iOS app stores. And so it's very easy to get set up. It's just go through the app flow. Who should be using that is entrepreneurs who are looking to meet investors or other entrepreneurs who they might partner with, and investors who are interested in talking to those people. Basically, anyone who's interested in connecting to discuss business live. That's basically who should be using Pitch Investors Live. And then TwoUp, TwoUp.tech is the website. There's no Android app, but there will be. And there is an iOS app. If you just search TwoUp Debate, you'll find it. And people who like to argue should join TwoUp. Anyone who's looking to have
you guys right now,
someone who disagrees with them should use TwoUp. And there's a lot of people who disagree with you in 2020. There's a lot. So,
yeah.
So that's who should use TwoUp.
Yeah. And we're looking to relaunch next week. I mean, actually, we're up and running right now, but the old UI is in place. But we would love support and topics and people to come on there. I mean, actually, even entrepreneurs from the pitch side and everything like that to come on there to do that, because you're going to help us build the features in the background, and the orientation of it is going to be implemented into pitch and everything. So this is kind of like the build out for it. And, there was just a harder time to do it because we're trying to launch before the elections, because who knows who's going to come into president, guys, and it could go crazy. And, we'll be there to take it's on head first.
Absolutely. So we just hit 3:00. I guess, Jonathan, if you can give final words to get people excited about Pitch Investors Live and TwoUp and the future of these two amazing apps. Do you have any final words to the users and the audience and people that may very well sign up today?
I mean, go sign up today. And I'll talk about pitch first. So, I mean, man, what we did here is allow the space for entrepreneurs and investors to have a very quick, rapid, easy way to connect with the other side. The cool thing about what we're about to do, and why you want to sign up, because we'll send you guys push notifications signing up for the app. Just go find it in the App Store, Pitch Investors Live, is because we're going to give the opportunity for people also to implement the tipping feature, which is going to be quite cool. Okay. And I'm not going to say for signing up that you're going to get any tokens, but we may be rewarding the community for team efforts and stuff like that.
But we're not going to say that.
Yeah, but we're not going to say that. But basically, there's going to be amazing things happening in there, and the tipping is going to be a very instrumental part to help people, entrepreneurs, and just regular Joes in the entrepreneur space to be able to do great things. And you'll be able to find connections. I mean, I think right now, I think we may have had over 10,000 users or something like, or we're reaching around there in the 10,000. That's a lot of freaking people around the world. So that's super amazing what you can do there. So it's a very easy, functional way. Go sign up. And, when this new feature come out, we're going to be blasting it everywhere 100%. And then for TwoUp, I mean, right now is the time. We're so polarized right now. You're going to see some amazing debates. Like, I just watched some of these and I'm just blown away by how amazing the conversations are and what it's doing basically to the landscape. And let's get people out of this polarization. Like, let's be a little open-minded to the other side. Let's not judge the other side because they grew up in a different culture and then they have different value systems. I'm cool with listening to anyone from anywhere. I have no problem with it. I don't care if you're a Biden or a Trump supporter. You can be friends with me. At the end of the day, I'm cool with it. And I'll argue my points and I'll be 100% okay with you. That to me is like big. So like download TwoUp, and like I think next week we're going to be launching it, So like Matt, what's your like key points here for like people why they should get into these apps and what we have going on with these?
Like TwoUp, if you just stay in your social media bubble or the people in your house because you're staying home, you're just probably going to hear opinions who disagree with you, opinions of people who disagree with you, and I think it's healthy to get exposure to the other side. It's also like when you talk to people who disagree with you, you realize that they're not bad people. They just have a different opinion, and that's really nice to know that people don't hate you because you have a different opinion. hold anything. You can just express what you can just disagree. It's fine. And I think that's like a really good outcome of using 2Up. And then pitch is like, if you want to do some business, get on there and talk to people, go do it. It's right there. Oh, and John's gone.
Thank you both. I think Jonathan had to drop off, and I think we're going to drop the links to sign up to the app. So if you're not already a user, we'll be dropping the links to jump on, and we look forward to it. So thank you, Matt and Jonathan, for joining us today.
Cheers, Adam.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye.